Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe, if you dare. My brother calls me a few days later pissed as all hell because during his screening for a security clearance someone finds pictures of him wearing perfectly tailored Soviet regalia. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. Identical twins of Reddit, what's the most embarrassing situation where you've been mistaken for your twin? Number 1. A friend and his wife go to the same supermarket every week. His identical twin also goes there, with his wife. One day, after summoning up the courage, the cashier pulls my friend's wife aside and says, "I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but I've seen your husband here several times with another woman." Number 2. My brother and I both entered into the science fair. Before the awards ceremony, he got sick, so I went with just my mom. My brother won first place and I didn't place at all. When they called his name, my mom made me go up for him. I stood on a stage, looking out at the sea of friends and teachers clapping for me while a medal was hung over my shoulders and a certificate was shoved into my hands. In the moment, I should have felt proud of my brother, but instead, I just started crying on stage and weirded everybody out. I think they must have thought I was just overwhelmed with happiness, because even when I stepped off of the stage and made a beeline for the back door, people continued to congratulate me and try to shake my hand. Congratulations, my twin's name. It was such a bizarre emotion. Like a blend of jealousy and shame. I walked straight to the back, past my mom, and left. Number 3. If you're a twin, you're bound to eventually have a few embarrassing stories. My whole life has been a system of awkward hugs or ducking a kiss from a girl and yelling, "Wrong one. Wrong one." Brother's girlfriend jumps in your lap while you're watching a movie. It happens. My personal favorite has to do with situations that have occurred due to mistaken identity with my brother now that he's a Marine officer. I joined the Peace Corps shortly after he became an officer. Yay, we're a sitcom setup, and worked as a teacher in Eastern Europe. Over drinks at a dinner during my service with friends of my host family, one of the gentlemen tells me that he used to be a Soviet helicopter pilot and asks me if I'd like to see his uniform. He brings down the full outfit in all its metal glory. We're almost exactly the same size, and he lets me try it on. Thinking how cool this is, I post a picture online wearing it to show everyone. My brother calls me a few days later pissed as all hell because during his screening for a security clearance someone finds pictures of him wearing perfectly tailored Soviet regalia. He yells at me for getting brass up his ass and complains that he might get his clearance postponed. We still laugh about it. Number 4. Not an identical twin. But I worked retail for a few years, and had a lot of regular customers. This one girl would come in, she was awesome, she loved the product, always made conversation over what she was doing, what she had done, we always connected. Sometimes she would initiate the conversation, sometimes I would. Never really learned her name though, which is pretty embarrassing in sales. About a year and a half after knowing her, she walks in one day and I wave to her, she excitedly waves back. All of a sudden, a perfect clone, in a similar outfit but different colors, walks out from behind her. My jaw literally dropped, I was in disbelief. I had been talking to two twin sisters thinking they were the same person for over a year. When I asked why they never pointed it out to me, one goes, "Well, you just seemed to talk to me like you knew me, so I went with it." Surreal experience, honestly. Number 5. When we were in the 6th grade, my brother decided he wanted to stay at home because he wasn't feeling well. So far, there had never been a day where only one of us was at school, but I didn't think anything of it. I was walking down the hall and all of a sudden I was pulled in by a teacher who I had never seen before, and she started yelling at me, and I mean yelling at me, because I had skipped her class and I had the audacity to walk in front of her class right after. It was really awkward to just say, "I have an identical twin brother. My name is Jay Sweat." She of course, thought I was making a terrible excuse and I had to go get another teacher that knew I had a brother to come and tell her that I was telling the truth. She never bothered me again. Other than that, we've never had a super embarrassing story. Number 6. My brother and I are now 25, but in middle school being a twin was funny/embarrassing. We are one of the sets of twins who look exactly alike, get the same haircut, and even our voices sound the same. In 7th grade I was minding my own business in class when someone joked that I wasn't myself. Immediately everyone in the classroom and the teacher decided to investigate. Although I had all my papers with me and all my belongings, they came to the conclusion that we could have switched them. So these Harvard-educated teachers did what they thought was best. They grabbed my brother from his classroom, across the hall, and started comparing us, trying to make sure we were who we said we were. After numerous times of us assuring them we were in the right class, I couldn't help but laugh. After my laugh, people in the classroom started to laugh and come out into the hallway with us. The teachers found this amusing that nobody knew who we were, and now 50+ students are in the hallway trying to tell them who I was and was not. Needless to say, this ended with both of us in the assistant principal's office with a stern warning to not switch courses, even though we were in the right class. Thinking back, what a bunch of morons. Number 7. My grandmother was an identical twin. Her sister passed away before I was born. She didn't like to tell stories from when she was little, but she did tell me one mistaken identity story. She was in their bedroom one night when they were really young and saw her sister through the window. She started talking to her sister to see why she was outside at night. Then she realized it was her reflection. My grandmother had mistaken herself for her twin. One day I was looking through her photo albums and came across some pictures of her twin in her coffin. That picture haunted me until I actually had to see my grandmother in her coffin. Number 8. When I was in high school, my brother and I dated twins. We'll call them Stephanie and Carmen. He was dating Stephanie, I was dating Carmen. They had this cute habit of trying to switch up on us and then give us a hard time for not knowing which of them was which. Going to each other's classes, walking up and hugging us, then holding hands and walking with us before revealing that wrong twin. It was this game that was equal parts getting to rag on us for not being able to tell the difference, and also what seemed like some sexually charged relationship brinkmanship. It kind of escalated over time, and my brother and I were pretty constantly torn between being excited by the weird, forbidden danger of it all, and also pretty uncomfortable with what started to feel almost like sharing girlfriends. I could usually tell them apart, but if I wasn't paying attention, sometimes Stephanie would pull one over on me and sneak a kiss or end up with a butt grab before I caught on. My brother could literally never tell the difference. The giggle fits they had over getting away with this sneakiness were incredible. And yeah, pretty much anyone can tell the difference between twins if you know them a while, but that's kind of the beauty of their mind game, the seed of doubt. They'd plant that seed of doubt and get you wondering, get you doubting yourself. And the second guessing was the deadly bit. Which is worse, not being able to tell the girl about to kiss you isn't your girlfriend? Or pushing away your girlfriend because you think she's someone else? That doubt was the whole game. Anyway, we lived out in a fairly rural area, and not too far from each other. Carmen would sometimes sneak into my house for sex. I lived on the 3rd floor and my parents had turned the basement into a living space unto itself, so it honestly wasn't even difficult. She'd just park at the edge of the property and walk up. Pretty sure everyone knows where this story is going, so I'll just skip the suspense. One night Stephanie, not Carmen, my girlfriend, snuck into my room for sex. There wasn't much talking, she just let herself in the window. There was a scaffold set up on the side of the house where my father was painting that summer, got onto the bed with me and started kissing me. It was one of their switch-ups and I suspect I wasn't supposed to know it was her, but Carmen had a small scar on her shoulder and I noticed it wasn't there as I pulled her sweater off. I thought about this moment for years afterward. Knowing that this was not my girlfriend kissing me and getting undressed in my room, I decided to go with it anyway. Because people asked all kinds of weird questions in the other thread. Yes, it was very different. No, their vaginas did not feel different. What a effing weird question. She was into different things, kissed differently, liked different things, and was generally more urgent. She didn't stay long after. Carmen usually stayed pretty late, early. Since this also came up a effing lot. No, I did not think of going for a threesome, which would in any case be goddamn weird. Edit, no, we never talked about it. This story was initially told in a "What secret will you take to your grave" thread. Anyway, the next day I asked my brother if he got a surprise midnight visit, kind of expecting that Carmen had visited him. I had assumed the switch up was going both ways and was sort of trying to sort out how I felt about it, beyond weird. He hadn't had a visit. Checked in on him a few more times over the next couple of days, to the point it was getting weird I was asking, so I finally dropped it. That weekend Stephanie dumped him and he never had a clue why. I've never told him I F his girlfriend a few days before they broke up, and I never told the twins I knew they both tried me out. TL, doctor, brother and I dated twins one night. Twin who is not my girlfriend sneaks in for sex pretending to be girlfriend. Brother does not receive corresponding visit and also gets dumped that weekend. Number 9. My father spent a year abroad before returning to enroll in the same college as his twin brother. The first few days were pretty standard, acquaintances of my uncle mistaking my dad for him, business as usual. That was until one girl approached him, publicly mind you, and with a wink said, "You were really great last night. I gave your number to a few friends, I hope you don't mind." Naturally, my dad went from there to immediately seek out and congratulate his brother on his good fortune, and hopefully share in the spoils. On the way, he found himself receiving a disproportionate level of sly smiles and sidelong glances from some of the groups he passed. By the time he finally found my uncle, he was thoroughly perplexed. Surely his brother couldn't have been this lucky, they were good-looking guys, but this was just ridiculous. My uncle flushed and faltered when confronted by my dad. He stammered and tiptoed around the issue before my dad finally got it out of him. How had he managed so prolific a penile pedigree? He hadn't. Turns out my uncle had spent all his money in the first few weeks and had turned to desperate measures for cash. He had been working as a stripper, doing mostly private parties, but naturally word got around. So for the rest of the year my father had to contend with the fact that a good number of the people on campus had effectively seen him naked. Number 10. In my hometown there was a kid in my grade who looked almost exactly like me, being tall and redheaded. It was pretty unusual. One night I got stopped by the cops and the officer just blew up at me right away, yelling that he had warned me about what would happen if he ever saw me again and that I was going straight to jail. Didn't take me long to figure out he had mistaken me for this other kid and get things straightened out, but it wasn't the only time that happened. Number 11. Here's my mistaken identity story with respect to my identical twin brother. We both attended the same university a long time ago, but had two different majors, so our daily schedules stayed completely distinct. School routines commence and I am attending music classes on a regular basis. In due course I start chatting it up with a cute saxophone player. She and I are getting along swimmingly for a while, but in a short while I start noticing a palpable cooling off of her attitude. I shrug it off as someone giving me the back off, not interested message and carry on with my other friends. Life goes on, so many fish in the sea, etc. Fast forward 4 years, it's graduation day. My brother and I are dressed identically in our cap and gowns for the ceremony. We're standing there side by side while our proud parents are taking our picture. For adult twins, this is about as identical looking as you can get without coming across as creepy or lame. When all of a sudden I hear, "Oh my God, I thought you were the biggest snob. You talked to me in the band room like we were best friends and then ignored me in the science building like you didn't want anything to do with me." Yes, it was that saxophone player. By this point, we're both in different relationships and school is over, so there's no real point to pursue anything. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.